Hey, good morning, my friends. It's a different day here in Southern California. I'm here in Surfside, California, right next to Seal Beach, kind of sandwiched between that and Huntington Beach to give you a little geographical location in case you're coming to us from some other part of the world. I'll tell you, it's a little breezier. It's kind of cool. It's not like So Cal right now, but it is the fall, and there's so many interesting things going on. We're going to go down to Cabo San Lucas where Sean Morgan is getting ready for the Bisbees. He's on a rig with 4 600 horsepower outboards. You're going to get a load of that thing, man. It's something else. Fishing up and down in So Cal. There's a lot of changes. There's more squid showing up just about everywhere. There was some yellows caught at Catalina Island. There is so much to talk about, including our big day, October the 23rd at 22nd Street Landing. You are all invited. It's our 1 million views on YouTube celebration. We've got food for you. We've got raffles for you. We've got a kids Halloween contest. We've got so much that you're going to love, including Desiree Rodriguez. She's going to be there along with several other stars in the industry. You know what time it is, everybody. It is time for the morning briefing. Good morning. Hey, good morning, my friends. It's great to be with you, even on a little breezy morning. You look at that ocean, and it belies the fact that there's any wind at all. I mean, it's nice and calm. Looks like a gorgeous day. However, we did have some wind and rough weather up and down the coast of California, as well as in northern Baja. We'll talk about all that as we move into a great report for each and every one of you. Don't forget, October the 23rd, we're going to be at 22nd Street Landing for the big celebration. And it's an opportunity for me to say thank you to all of you. And you meet everybody from our staff. Anthony Amalfitano will be there and his lovely wife, Jen. Chef Jason's going to be there. Greg Bates, Bob Gifford. So many of the people who make this podcast possible and so great. And, of course, the staff at 22nd Street Landing, Mike Morrison. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get some good eats. You'll participate in a raffle. Help us raise some funds to send more stuff across the border to help our brothers and sisters down that way. It's going to be a great day. Hey, can you do me a favor? And so many of you have been doing it, and I deeply appreciate it. And that's hit that like button. It means so much to us. So many of you are doing it, and it really helps to propel us upwards on our YouTube channel here at Friedman Adventures. All right, let's go to Cabo San Lucas. I mean, the Bisbees is right on the horizon, October the 25th through the 29th, if I have those dates right. So Sean Morgan, you know Captain Morgan, he's down there and he files in reports to us all the time. Had that 91-pound wahoo the other day, goofing around, catching Dorado all the way down the Baja Peninsula. So he got on a rig with his son Rudy yesterday, and their goal was to catch a giant black marlin in Cabo San Lucas. And they had this rig that went ever so fast. So here's a little montage for you, a little bit of what went on down there in Cabo San Lucas as these guys are trying to get ready for the Bisbees.
All right, here we are. Slow trolling on a scout for big black marlin. We got a couple baits out. It's gonna be sick.
Gotta get a bite. Stand by. Stand by.
We're ready, Freddy. We're doing a little practice with Captain Rudy at the helm. There he is. Oh shit, we got the music for it, boys. We're just waiting for a bite. On the outside Gordo. Here we go. Woo! On the Gordo. Outside Gordo. slow trolling some baits for big black marlin with the big dogs. We'll let you know if we hook one. We got 4 650s back there. That's a lot of damn horsepower for the 1,000-pound black marlin we're gonna catch. Okay, we're out. Woo! 60 miles an hour. We're going too fast.
60 miles an hour, oh my God. And there was no mention of any hookups or any fish caught, just 60 miles an hour. So I guess we can surmise from that, not too good on the catching yesterday, but those guys as usual, Rudy and Sean and everybody down there always having a great time, so good stuff. All right, let's go to Ensenada and talk to my friend Victor at Blackfin, who filed a report with us and said, Phil, I gotta tell you, the wind was a factor. Rough seas, windy weather made it very, very difficult. We looked around, tried to find that really warm water, and the best we could do was 68-degree water. Now, Victor's got 2 pongas out from Blackfin here this morning, and of course we're watching that very, very closely. If they do anything during the day, we'll update you, but for sure on the morning briefing we will have more. It's not to say they didn't catch anything at all. Captain Ignacio Duarte put them on some fish, and they were able to scratch out a living yesterday, but very tough, and I think you can call it weather related. You know, when you have weather, it's difficult to find the fish, number one, and sometimes there is a phenomenon known as weather sensitive fish. Sometimes they go down when the weather is up. Weather up, fish down. It's an old axiom. Sometimes it's not true. I mean, you guys who used to fish albacore out of Morro Bay know that pretty darn well. You have these really snotty giant seas, and you go into a stop on Albie and put 100 on. I mean, it's different in every situation, but no question, I think the weather, the windy weather, had an adverse effect on the fishing yesterday out of Ensenada. We'll see how it goes here today. We'll be watching it very, very closely for you all. Now, the offshore scene in general for LA, Orange County based boats, San Diego based boats, just about everybody has been going this way, down. It's been very difficult over the past few days. That is not to say there hasn't been a few really good hits, but it is to say that it is way more difficult and way more dicey. We've been calling it hit and miss. It's been mostly miss here for the past 48 hours. Is it the weather? Is it the end of the offshore season? I don't think so. What is going on? In that deep water bluefin tuna, you know, the stuff that they fish mostly at night, Catalina, San Clemente Island. There's been fish down at the Coronado Islands. There's been fish all over the place. It's kind of MIA right now. It's missing in action. Those huge nighttime scores, long-range boats, 2-3 day trip boats are not getting them like we were just a few days ago. And remember, the new land just got in from a 3-day trip with a $1.23 on the bluefin tuna. So I think it's just giving us a slip. Might be the weather. I don't think it's over by any stretch of the imagination. Now, the wind and everything else, and as we get deeper on into the fall, we might see a reduction in water temperature to the point where that yellowfin and that dorado says, time for my Mexican vacation. I'm going where the water is much warmer and I don't feel so cold. That could happen, but I don't think that bluefin will go anywhere as long as we stay 65 degrees and above. Those things really turn on when it gets to 67 degrees, 68 degrees, and we've got a lot of that kind of water still around here, 68 to 72 degrees, so don't panic. Now, Joe Russo, who's a great guy, a capable fisherman, a good friend of Friedman Adventures. I talked to Joe at great length. He was out with his daughter, and they scoured San Clemente Island and surrounding areas looking for kelps. Couldn't find them. Now, they did find a lot of yellowfin tuna, and that's the good news. He had a goose egg, however, and believe me, Joe knows what he's doing. So he gets a goose egg, something's up. And Joe thought to himself, could be the seiner pressure, because when he rolled up on these yellowfin tuna, he said, Phil, they are just not acting the same. They're really squirrely. They're, really, they don't want to stick with the boat. They're moving in all these different directions. Something's up with this. So we'll see if it's seiner pressure or maybe it's just a wacky tuna thing, I don't know what it is. Now, let's get into tackle. I'll give you some scores and get you caught up on all of that. And there is squid Don't forget that we have squid at the San Pedro Bait Receiver here in beautiful San Pedro, California. And many of the boats that are starting to take squid to the island, we're seeing some dividends pay off on that. Tackle-wise, remember, you need a rod with 25-pound and a rod with 40-pound hook sizes. And we love blacktail hooks. You want to go from, like a number 2 hook, but in most cases, a 1/0 to 2/0 size hook. And that's what you're going to use when you're fishing those nice big sardines or that live squid also. So a rod with 25-pound, when they're finicky, they're not biting that well. A rod with 40-pound will get you through some bigger fish, as well as when the intensity of the bite goes up. So you've got to adapt to those different situations. And I highly recommend you talk to a crew member. Now, bringing some iron, I'd bring 50-pound if I was going to fish iron, but you definitely can get a bite by throwing iron on those yellowfin and bluefin tuna. That Daiwa Sakana is a very good lure. I like something with chrome in it when I'm fishing yellowfin tuna. It works really, really, really well. So there you have it. I think that will cover it all for you. Dorado bite, really iffy right now, but hopefully it'll get back on the chew here as we go along. Navigante out of Redondo with a nice 3-day trip. I don't know how you can get it any better than this. Limits of Dorado, a yellowfin, nice hit for them as they really slam some nice, really beautiful fish. And hopefully we're going to see more of that to come. I'll tell you that it's a long way from over, but we do have breezier situations and water temperatures that are moving up and down right now. We'll have to see where we go from here. The San Diego, leaving in the morning, coming back in the evening. They covered so much ground yesterday. They worked their tails off. Guys work harder, I think, when the fish aren't biting. They had a really tough day with a Dorado and 23 Bonita. The Aggressor out of Newport Landing, our good friend James was on board there, James Mosier. And James said that the charter master was dedicated to offshore, so that is exactly what they did. They traveled hard, worked hard for 8 hours, stopped the boat 3 times, didn't catch a fish. It happens, and I'm pointing that out to you, not to tell you the fishing is terrible, but to point out that this offshore situation right now is really a lot more difficult than it has been. Can it change? Of course it can. We'll keep our eyes on it. Hopefully it's going to pop into gear. There were very few kelps. James said it was really a tough day. Outrider, 9 guys down there out of Fisherman's Landing on a 2.5-day trip. 4 bluefin to 210 pounds, 31 Dorado, 13 yellowfin tuna. The Fortune, 16 guys on a 3-day, 96 Dorado, 221 on the yellowfin tuna and 2 yellowtail. Pacific Queen limits a yellowfin tuna with a $1.75 for 35 anglers. Some of that yellowfin tuna is that 8 to 12 pound fish. Some of it gets up to 60 pounds. Those are some nice scores. Islander on a 1.5-day trip, 51 yellowfin tuna, 7 Dorado for 22 anglers. So nothing wrong with those kinds of scores, but they are the exception right now. Hopefully it's going to get back into gear. Rob Brassaw, he went way out of his way to say, Phil, I can't thank you enough for all the great morning briefings. You get me fired up. I caught my first Dorado this year, AKA, by the way, Mako. We call Rob, or Rob's nickname is Mako. He said not only did he have his first catch of a Dorado, not only did he enjoy his time in the water, but he got to see whales breaching and tail slapping. Really incredible sights, and you have got to love that. Now, don't leave out the Channel Islands because there's still bluefin tuna up that way. In fact, the Aloha Spirit is dedicating their efforts to trying to catch more of those bluefin. The Mirage the other day had a fish, and there's been fish splashing around up there. One of the better ways to get a bite up there is by fishing 50 to 60 pound with some kind of a lure. Colt Snipers have been working up there, Daiwa Sakanas, or a sinker rig. That's what they are recommending out there in that neck of the woods. So that is still a possibility and something you need to pay very strict attention to. All right, let me take you now down and talk islands with you all. And in terms of the island bite right now, there is still an opportunity at Todos Santos Islands for yellowtail, big bonita, and calico bass. And it's not bad. That's right off of Ensenada. If you're not familiar with the geography, you get to the Mexican-American border and drive 60 miles south. You're in Ensenada. About an hour and a half drive on a beautiful toll road. You can't beat it. It's a lot of fun. And again, we've got several guys down there that we like. We like Arnie at Arnie Sport Fishing. You can find him Arnie Man on Facebook. You can also fish with our friend Victor at Blackfin out there on picturesque Punta Banda. It's a gorgeous place to depart from, and they've been doing great all year long. Albert Ponce and his wife Crystal fish that place all the time and highly endorse it. That's good enough for me. And then also our friend Diego Nuno has an operation down there, Costa Baja Sport Fishing. I fished with him many times and enjoy it every single time. Coronado Island, still some good hits there on the yellowtail. We'll see how that progresses along, but there's been anywhere from 20 to 100 yellows on sport boats there. A lot of deep fish right now, so yo-yo iron has been working really well, and that's sinking the jig deep, winding on it fast. When you get a bite, you do not rear back on the rod to set the hook. You set the hook by, correct, just turning the handle on the reel until you've got that hook set in there. That's the way to do it. Some really good fishing going on there. San Clemente Island, still yellowtail in the short water, and I'm talking 50, 60 feet of water. There's some pretty good hits there, anywhere from, I want to say 5 to 30 yellows in a day is within the realm of possibility. Putting the brakes on them is extremely important because there is so much structure in that short water, kelp, rocks, all that stuff, that those little forkies can just saw you off in. So 40 pound if you can get away with it, 25 pound fluorocarbon. Yes, you definitely want it in all these situations, offshore, islands, whatever it is. You definitely want to have the fluoro. www.optionusa.com. Really, really important to have that. Put in FA at checkout. Greg Brown will send you a love note and a free gift. So really, really important there. Catalina Island, the native son had live squid yesterday. Had a little go around on the yellows, went 1 for 8 on the yellowtail, and then some bass and rockfish, stuff like that. The freelance had 20 hookups on the yellowtail yesterday out of Davies Locker and Newport Beach and put 12 yellows on the boat. Is Catalina going to come to life in the fall? That is the question. And the answer is, we don't know yet, but it is showing some positive signs of improvement. Hopefully that's going to come together. Channel Islands, good rockfish up there. Occasional sea bass, a lot of squid moving in to that area. That could fire a sea bass bite up. We're going to watch that closely. I'm telling you, there's halibut, sea bass, and even yellowtail that move in as predators on that squid biomass. We'll see what happens in the coming days. Along the coast, nothing too exciting, but rockfish and sculpin, a few bonita and yellowtail, sometimes calico bass, a lot of shorts, some legals, all up and down our coastline. And then in terms of the surf fishing bite, we still have some corvina being taken at times. Really, really good corvina fishing on the natural bait and the light line. Some yellowfin croaker, a fall spot fin croaker bite starting to manifest itself here around, actually down by the water tower there at Huntington Beach area. What's that called again? I can't remember the street. PCH and whatever it is. You know, the big water tower down there. That place, we're starting to see some more spot fin croaker. Those are natural bait fish. Natural bait is the only way to get it done on spot fin croaker. So a ghost shrimp, sandworms that you can dig up, sand crabs all work really, really well. So that bite is continuing up and down the coast. All right, folks, things are in a state of flux. It's a little windy, it's a little cool. We've got some great hits on the offshore scene, and we've got some putrid situations going on. And then, of course, we are watching the Bisbee's tournament coming up down in Cabo. Sean Morgan, he's always getting into something crazy, running around 60 miles an hour down there in that neck of the woods. Ensenada, we lose the wind. They'll be right back on track perhaps today. And of course, we're watching it all for you very, very closely. And again, a week from Sunday on October the 23rd, we'll be at 22nd Street Landing in beautiful San Pedro, California, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Kids Halloween contest. We've got a seminar with Brian Wynn that you're going to love. I'm telling you, Roger Eckhart and Brian are going to get together and put on a seminar for you, answer all your questions, and then Desiree Rodriguez and so many other great people, including the staff from 22nd Street Landing. All right, give us a like, please. Hit that like button, smash that thumbs up. Thanks for all your great support. I'll be over at 22nd Street Landing, kind of trying to get everything spiffed up for all of you all day long today. So I'll be there. If anything happens, I will update you with a special update. Good morning, my friends. Have a great weekend this weekend. It's a beautiful Friday morning. As I said, a little windier, a little chilly, but look at that. Come on. That's absolutely gorgeous. We are so blessed. Wishing you a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining me and spending some time out of your busy schedule. I deeply appreciate it, and I will see you October the 23rd.